What is up, guys? And Ncaa 31 here, bringing you some college football talk with NCAA 14 as the backdrop here, playing a game against longtime OD member Maurice. I'm using Georgia Tech, he is using Wisconsin, and the college football season is underway. The opening week is already in the books. Week 2 will be upon us in a couple of days. And openers are always interesting. It's your first chance to see if some of the hype behind the contenders is real, although not all of them were in action this week. Oregon takes on Michigan State this week, which should be a pretty good game. And Oklahoma State has their opener this week. Not Oklahoma State, Oklahoma. Oklahoma State played on FSU. So those two teams have yet to reveal themselves, but out of the games that occurred last week, what can we really glean from them? It can be difficult at times because you don't really know how much of someone's preseason ranking is based off of the reputation of last year's team, and also you don't know who's really been undervalued because they're bringing in a lot of new parts. For example, Clemson and Georgia. Clemson replacing a couple of dynamic offensive players, Sammy Watkins and Taj Boyd. Georgia replacing Aaron Murray. And I really think both those teams are going to be okay. I think Clemson just got worn down. But I like what they showed. I liked how their QB played, Cole Stout. And I liked Georgia's quarterback as well. And Todd Gurley, he's a stud. Hopefully he can stay healthy and have a big season. In this day and age, I don't know if you ever take a running back in the first round of the draft anymore, but he may make someone think about it. Now, on the other side of the spectrum, a team like South Carolina coming in at preseason number 9, that one was a head-scratcher to me. I didn't understand how they could be ranked so high when you're replacing Connor Shaw, you don't have Davion Clowney, you also don't have two other defensive linemen who are all-American caliber, and you're replacing your two starting corners. And A&M just tore them to shreds. Do I think A&M is that dominant? I'd have to say no. I mean, if they are, we might as well just stop playing the games right now. But, you know, I figured A&M's offense wouldn't miss too much. Ken Sumlin knows what he's doing. His variation of the air raid has been putting up numbers for quite some time now. He was putting up big numbers in his system or with his system with ham and eggers like Case Keenum and Kevin Cobb. Now he's at a place where he has resources, and as a result, he's now bringing in 4- and 5-star recruits to run a proven system. And that's when you get things really humming along. The amazing thing, and this is probably going to be Johnny Manziel's biggest legacy, is that A&M has made the Longhorns irrelevant, which is astounding to me. I never thought I would ever see the day that would happen. But, you know, Texas football is just dead right now in comparison to A&M. A&M's got it cranking. They are kicking the Longhorns' tail in recruiting, both in the state and nationally. But time will tell, you know, how good the Aggies really are. They'll be tested down the road some. As far as my Notre Dame Fighting Irish, Everett looked great. He looks bigger. He looks stronger. He looks like he's in fantastic shape. And again, it's Rice. But the thing that stuck out to me is that Notre Dame has skill position players now. A lot of them. They have a lot of backs, and they have some really nice-looking receivers. And you're starting to see the tempo again to Brian Kelly's spread offense. We really haven't seen that out of Notre Dame really since before Dane Christ blew his knee out, if you think about it. So I was excited to see that. My question with them is, are they going to stop anybody? That's my question with a lot of these teams. Does anybody have a defense this year? FSU looked shaky in their opener at times. Bama. I have had this hunch that Alabama is starting to get on the downswing and need to restart the cycle again. My theory is that once you have your program built, you have a 5-year window to really win big. And then you have to start to restart the cycle again, because you lose so many players early to the NFL, you lose coaches, and all that turnover eventually catches up to you. Bama's still going to be good, but their margin for error is now a little bit closer to everybody else's. I'm not going to take Ole Miss seriously yet. I never take North Carolina seriously. Every year I hear about how great Ole Miss and North Carolina are going to be, how this is the year that their recruiting classes live up to their billing and they break through. And every year they're 6-5 and playing in some godforsaken bowl game in the middle of December in Shreveport, Louisiana or somewhere. I'm also willing to cut Ohio State some slack for the time being, only because Navy is a tricky team to open with. You're geared up, you're all fired up to get the new season started, you want to just fly around and hit something, and then what do you have to do? You have to play against the flexbone triple option. You got to sit there, read and react, stay at home, stay disciplined, play your assignment every down, and all the while you're being cut block each and every single play. And what happens is you get sick and tired of doing it, you get bored, so you find yourself sleepwalking through the game, and next thing you know, in the middle of the third quarter, it's 10-7. And everyone is standing around looking at each other and wondering, why haven't we blown these dudes out yet? LSU, you just don't know how good the quarterback is yet. You looked kind of shaky against Wisconsin. That's what it's going to come down to. LSU will always be able to run the ball to some degree. We didn't really see too much of Leonard Fournette. I was looking forward to that, but, Kenny Hilliard had the hot hand, so they rode that. And, Anthony Jennings made some plays, made some pretty long plays, but, small sample size. I mean, his stat line wasn't great, but he did enough to get the job done. But the weird thing in that game is that Wisconsin almost played exactly the same way. They ran the ball really well. They averaged about 7 yards per carry, which has to make you nervous if you're an LSU fan going forward. But Tanner McEvoy was horrible. He was terrible. Threw for 50 yards and 2 picks. So who knows how good any of these teams really are yet. Conventional wisdom says that FSU has to be given the benefit of the doubt until further notice. If I had a gun put to my head and I had to pick 4 playoff teams, I would go Florida State, Oregon, Oklahoma, and I don't know. I still want to go Ohio State, only because I'm not in love with the Big Ten. And someone has to win that conference. And I just feel like they're going to find a way to get there. I don't know. I just have a little hunch about them as far as that's concerned. They're still Ohio State. They still have a lot of talent. They still recruit well. They're still coached by Urban Meyer. And they also have just an atrocity of a schedule. They have no one on their schedule. Outside of at Michigan State, there's no one there. So those are my thoughts. Love to hear your opinions, and I'll talk to you all later. Peace.